What is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we're talking about the LA Dodgers and Yankees series recap. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3 against our New York Yankees, and a lot to learn for the Yankees, a lot to learn for their roster, what to look forward to, what players that maybe shouldn't be playing, what players could be shipped out. All of that, we're going to talk about it all on the Inside the Blue podcast. Of course, we talk about the Yankees, Rangers, and the Giants. This time, we're talking about the Yankees and Dodgers series. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a like, leave all that good stuff. Turn notifications on so you know when I post all of these videos. Also, don't forget to follow us on TikTok. We were live last night from the 7th inning all the way to the end. It was very fun. Tons of you guys joined in, and I appreciate that. And also on Instagram, we post reels about the Yankees, Giants, and Rangers. I keep mentioning the Dodgers because that's where this focus is on this video. So the Yankees, of course, dropped 2 out of 3. And I know there were some Yankee fans that I talked to that especially some players just cannot be playing on this team. And some players on the bench that shouldn't even bother to be getting any more minutes. Not really minutes, but playing time. Main guys that were said were like Pablo Reyes, Peraza, LeMahieu. But we're gonna get into it, talking about the start. Of course, game 1. A good game, 8-5 loss. Nothing you can really do there. But right now the Yankees are 36-22, and that's first in the AL East. And also, they are just behind the Detroit Tigers, who have been phenomenal this season. Props to the Tigers. I didn't maybe expect this good of a start for them. I knew they were going to be pretty good, but they made some noise. So props to them. But let's get breaking down into all 3 games for the New York Yankees. In game 1, Max Fried got the ball. We were excited. I was excited for him because he had a 3.18 ERA, 3.18. Heading into this series against the Dodgers in his career, and he just didn't really have it. The home runs were flying in this game. Maybe, there were some comments that the balls were juiced for a highly anticipated series to get more home runs, get more action. Maybe that was the case, because both pitchers did get shelled in this game. Max Fried didn't maybe have his best stuff, and, that does happen. He has pitched great until this start. And also, even though he did get shelled, and he did get hit around from Ohtani, Freeman, all those guys, his ERA is still under 2, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. It's a 1.92, which is very good. Still definitely has a chance to win the Cy Young. But with what Tariq Skubal is doing out in Detroit, it's going to be hard to beat that guy for him to win the Cy Young. But, some other stuff. It was probably, the worst timing for Max Fried to have a bad start. But like I said earlier, he has pitched good enough to this point that I can't be mad over Max Fried for a bad start. You put up 5 runs. Usually when you put up 5 runs, it's going to be hard to win, especially against a highly powered offense with the Dodgers. But, yeah, the bats were hot early. You got home run. You got a home run in the first inning from Judge. And, of course, Ohtani followed it up. But also you get home runs from Wells, you get a home run from Grisham, and you get a home run from Paul Goldschmidt. But outside of that, the offense was dead. You scored all 5 of your first innings, all 5 of your runs in the first 3 innings, and then there was a bunch of goose eggs on the scoreboard. So that's unacceptable because, listen, the biggest thing that I took away from this series is that outside of Yamamoto, they didn't have their best pitchers. Blake Snell's on the IL. Roki Sasaki, say what you want, but he's on the IL. Tyler Glasnow, he's on the IL. So, you had a chance to really, really beat up these pitchers, and you really just didn't. Outside of those first 3 innings that were fun, they were hitting home runs left and right. They couldn't capitalize on the bigger moments when it got to the Dodgers bullpen. So, not great there. So you lost the first game 8-5, and it was a good game. Good entertainment. Obviously, the Yankees, couldn't score enough runs to win the game. But game 2, oh my gosh. Did I expect 18 runs to be scored on? Probably not. But Will Warren didn't have his stuff. And, maybe that's because it was a better team and the teams that he was playing previously weren't as good. Because leading up to this series and into this game, he was pitching really well. Tons of strikeouts, had a career-high strikeout against Texas. Even though Texas is pretty mid this year, they haven't been great. Offense is one of the worst in baseball. So, you kind of got shelled there. And Will Warren's stat line, 1 1/3, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 1 home run allowed. ERA is back up to 5.19. I mean, outside of Will Warren, what else is there to talk about? Judge hit 2 home runs, which is cool, but, not enough. Not enough. It was basically Judge 2, Dodgers 18. Yankees lose that game. And now we're looking at ourselves in the mirror, looking at the team, and like, the worst thing that could possibly happen is lose the World Series in 2024 and in 2025 get swept. The Yankees didn't get swept. And thanks to Ryan Yarbrough. Now, a lot of Yankee fans were questioning Aaron Boone's decision of why not Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon, his ERA is at 2.6. He's pitched phenomenal this year. Why not pitch him? I was watching the broadcast. A lot of them said they're worried with Rodon's health long term. They want him, they want to make sure he's healthy the entire year. So I can understand that point, but for me, I would have loved to see Rodon get the ball. But granted this, Ryan Yarbrough was fantastic in this one. I mean, you couldn't have gotten a better start. He goes 6 innings, then they go to Loizaga, who allowed 2 home runs, 1 to Andy Pages, and 1 to Max Muncy to make the game 6-3. And then they threw in Devin Williams for the 8th inning and finished out with Tim Hill. They finished out with Tim Hill. So, the reason why they threw out Tim Hill, for any of you guys that were wondering, was because leading up to the warm-up, Luke Weaver had a bit of a hamstring issue. He felt something in his hamstring, so that's why we saw Tim Hill pitch over Luke Weaver. And that's why we were also questioning on the live stream why we saw Tim Hill warming up, and then they went to Devin Williams. And then, they didn't pitch Tim Hill in the 8th inning. They pitched Devin Williams, and then they went to Tim Hill. So we were questioning why it wasn't Luke Weaver. That's why it wasn't Luke Weaver. But, good in the Yankees to give Rodon the extra day off. He'll be pitching against Cleveland. And Ryan Yarbrough to pitch really good. 6 innings was very good for him. Only run he allowed was a Tommy Edman solo shot. But last 5 games for Ryan Yarbrough have been very, very good. 2 earned runs or less. This guy's been pitching really good. Now, I guess if you want to say a negative for Ryan Yarbrough, is in the last 4 games, he's allowed a home run. But he's also pitched really good. So, it balances out. Sure, he lets up that home run, but he really locks in. And I think a lot of credit to Matt Blake, but also Ryan Yarbrough. He's a funky pitcher. That windup is weird. Sometimes you get an 85, 88 mile an hour fastball, and he's coming in with a 70 mile an hour sweeper. So it's really hard for these MLB hitters to adjust to Ryan Yarbrough. And, thanks to the Toronto Blue Jays for letting him go in 2024, Yankees snag him, and he's a very solid piece. Now, the question is who is going to come out of this rotation when Luis Gil comes back, and even Marcus Stroman. Because Marcus Stroman, he had a right knee issue. He's working back. Luis Gil, I expect to be back in somewhat July. But Marcus Stroman, he does not like to be that long-term reliever coming out of the bullpen. Now, he shouldn't honestly argue with any of them, because the main pitcher that maybe you could take out of this rotation right now is Will Warren and send him back down to AAA, or you put him in the bullpen. But Ryan Yarbrough deserves to stay. Obviously, Max Fried, obviously Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt. That's 4 guys. So now you have to gamble on, who is going to be that 5th starter. Is it going to be Ryan Yarbrough? Is it going to be Will Warren? Or is it going to be Marcus Stroman? The easy answer is Ryan Yarbrough, and I hope that's what it stays like. Because I mean, they've been all pretty solid. Say what you want about Clark Schmidt. He's been fine. Obviously, you're getting out of Rodon and Max Fried, but I've been really liking the starting rotation. I think the bullpen has been good. Obviously, I think they need a flamethrower in there, that just someone who just throws hard, and there may be some options out there. One guy I've been checking in on is Jake Bird of the Colorado Rockies. He's been good for them, one of the only bright spots of that team. But getting into more of Game 3, Judge with no hits. Doesn't matter, because in that series he was batting .385, 5 hits, 3 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 4 runs scored in the 3 games against the Dodgers this year. So Judge showed up. He played really good, had some really nice outfield plays. And also, how about DJ LeMahieu in Game 3, going 4 for 5, getting hits left and right, making some nice plays in the infield. That was his first 4-hit game since 2021 against the Boston Red Sox. I mean, that is definitely something. Jason Dominguez, in terms of injuries, he got hurt, so hopefully he's okay. I believe it was his wrist, so hopefully he's okay. Yeah, I mean, overall, you can't love what you liked about this series. The Yankees didn't do their job, right? You lose 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers in your rematch since the World Series. I think it honestly also just started from them leading up into this series. Against Colorado Rockies, outside of that 13-1 win, you beat them by 1 run, 5-1 and 3-2, 5-4, sorry, and 3-2. That's embarrassing. The Rockies currently are 9-50. 9-50. And then the Angels series, you score 9 runs, averaging 3 runs a game. And it's not like they have some ace pitcher for their team. Their best pitcher is, Yushi Kikuchi? No excuse that you couldn't sweep the Rockies. But I think leading up, that's maybe why they struggled against the Dodgers. You can't lay off against the Dodgers, because they'll come back, right? I mean, that Game 1, you hit a bunch of home runs, you're feeling good after those first 3 innings, and then the Dodgers just come back with roar. Something else to point out is this bench is not good. And thankfully the Yankees haven't, hit that injury bug where they have a lot of injuries. I mean, their main injuries are Jazz, Stanton, and now Dominguez for hitting-wise. But you look at the bench, I mean, obviously LeMahieu with the 4-hit game is cool, but he hasn't been great. Peraza, I don't love. Jorbit Vivas is young and still adjusting to the MLB. And, J.C. Escar is a backup catcher who probably isn't going to see much of the field because of Austin Wells. And also Pablo Reyes. How could I forget about Pablo Reyes? He's not good. So the Yankees need to, get some bench bats at the trade deadline. But looking at the upcoming schedule, they have 3 against the Cleveland Guardians, 3 against the Boston Red Sox. They have 3 against the Kansas City Royals, 3 against Boston at Boston. They're also at Kansas City. 4 against the LA Angels, and then 3 against the Baltimore Orioles. Looking also at it, you're only playing 1 playoff team. And you're only playing 1 playoff team for the whole June. After the Baltimore Orioles, you take on the Cincinnati Reds, the A's at home, and that's really it. Then you start another series against the Toronto Blue Jays. So, the Yankees, with the standings checkup for our third segment, they've been good against teams above 500. 22-15. They have a run differential of plus 98. That's the best in baseball. Next to them are the Cubs. Their expected win-loss is 38-20. They're 36-22, so they're right there. Their expected win rate, and they are one of the 3 teams in the MLB to have 300 runs scored or more. The only teams else are the LA Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. And to wrap it up, the Yankees are 36-22. The Toronto Blue Jays are 31-28. The Tampa Bay Rays are 30-29. The Boston Red Sox are 29-32. And the Baltimore Orioles, what a fall off they have had. They're 22-36. So that's our AL East recap. Toronto 5.5 games back of the Yankees. The Rays are 6.5 games back. Boston Red Sox 8.5 games back. And the Baltimore Orioles are 14 games back of the AL East New York Yankees. Now, the Yankees are 7-6 against the AL East opponents this year. We'll see how they do against Boston twice and the Baltimore Orioles. I guess to wrap it up, gotta take advantage of your AL East opponents upcoming. A lot needs to be done, pitching-wise, hitting-wise. But I think the Yankees got a good shot at winning the division. I mean, they're 5.5 games up. They are sitting pretty comfortably. But obviously things can change. We're only in the month of May. So be on the watch out for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this podcast for the New York Yankees recap against the LA Dodgers. Don't forget to hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button. On the road to 300 subs. Let's get there. Don't forget to hit the like. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. And of course, this has been the recap for the LA Dodgers, who took 2 out of 3 against the New York Yankees. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.